Welcome to the Bear Necessities Podcast, hosted by Pbear, your friendly neighborhood bear. This is the show where authentic stories meet authentic conversations. It's the Temu of podcasting, as it has all the podcasting needs from current events to the struggles and joys of everyday family life. Everyone has a story to tell, so let's bring them to life and hopefully offend the easily offended. I'm talking to you, Karen, from the Aldi car park, who took up 2 parking spaces. The Bear Necessities Podcast, brought to you by HBS. Find us on Spotify and Instagram for more info. Life's a journey. Bear with me, and let's get into it.
Hello, you are very welcome to the Bear Necessities Podcast. I'm your host, Pbear. This is the pilot episode, the very first in a line of episodic bi-weekly entries into the podcast that nobody ever asked for, nobody ever needed, but is going to get regardless due to Spotify letting anyone put stuff up. So before we get cancelled after a couple of episodes, just give you a quick intro into the podcast, a little background history of how we came where we are right now. So I was scrolling through Spotify looking for James Blunt's latest album drop. James, we're going to have you as a guest in the show. Big fan. P.S. You're beautiful. Then my daughter mistakenly hit the podcast button, and I noticed the tons and tons of podcasts and the familiar faces, celebrities, minor celebrities, B celebrities, Z celebrities are all pumping out podcasts. Everyone has a fucking podcast now. So I said, Pbear, you need to get yourself on that gravy train. Give me a slice of that pie. So I waddled into the kitchen and I said, Alexa, how does one create a podcast? Alexa, in her sultry tone voice, surveillance for the CIA, responded, you cannot create a podcast because you haven't a fucking clue what you're doing. All jokes aside. So I did a little research and I said, you know what? Throw something at the wall, say it's a stick, and here we are, recording the first episode. Take 348, by the way. But basically the format of the show will go as we'll have a little look at what's going on in the world, across the pond, across the Atlantic with our American brothers and sisters. I'm going to speak about a few things and we'll throw some stuff against the wall and see what sticks. But what I'd love and hope the listeners, all 3 is out there, you know who you are, you up the lads, will be able to give me a little bit of feedback, what's going right and what's going wrong. And maybe after about 10 episodes or 2 episodes, we can look back and say, well, that didn't work, and we can revise and hopefully improve. Progress, not perfection. Who said that? Denzel Washington, my man. So looking at the news stories from around the globe today, most of it's bullshit, as you know. You get a condensed version of the truth. But one thing I noticed this morning when I was on my morning strolling through Instagram and other news media outlets that you see. So in the UK, a British teen pleaded guilty to murdering 3 young girls. If you remember back in July, some absolute dirtbag rolled into a Taylor Swift school and started stabbing young children. His name wasn't released at the time due to his age, as he was under 18, so not technically an adult. But he was a Welsh man, we were told. Traditional Welsh name like Bryn or Dave's coaches, you know. All right. But his name was Axel Rudakubana, and he pleaded guilty to murdering 3 young, defenseless children. And he tried to kill another 10 before he was put down. So this absolute piece of human trash will hopefully spend the rest of his life behind bars, getting the shit kicked out of him mercifully till he's 80 or 90, and then beaten to death again. But this is the justice system. He might serve 5 years, I might be out and given a new name. But we'll see. But it's just kind of surprising if we link back over to our own little island where a man stabbed some kids that resulted in the Dublin riots. Now, if you think about the Dublin riots, all you remember is shops being burned and far-right nationalists out in the street and blah, 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 the usual border. But let's face facts. A man went in and murdered 2 young girls and a boy. Attempted murder, should I say. I retract that. Sorry, false information. He attempted to murder them, but he was stopped by a couple of heroes, an Irish lady and a Brazilian nationalist who's been living here, and two heroes. His name is Riyad Bachar. Pronounced that incorrectly, I apologize, but not that much. But it's amazing how in the UK, the other guy has been charged with the murder of those three girls, but we still haven't seen Riyad Boukhakha. I'm getting better. Face trial here for some strange fucking reason. I don't know. I'll leave that up to your own judgment, but we'll see. But all that came out of that was that Dublin people are rioters and racist, which is far from the truth. We're the most welcoming bunch of people in the entire planet. Moving over to the stateside, over to America. America, F yeah. They have a new leader, a new commander-in-chief. A new guy running the ship. You probably know his name. Begins with a D and ends in a grumpa. He took office again for the second time after he was shafted on the second one. We won't talk about that, maybe in another episode. But he went straight into it. He enacted a bunch of orders that he promised. Imagine a politician making a lot of promises during an election, getting elected, and then on his first hour in office, actually doing what he said. It's crazy, isn't it? But let's all forget this guy is a crazy Nazi who's going to blow up the world. He's going to invade Greenland. He's going to take over Mexico, and he's going to be Nazis. And yeah, we've heard it all before. I think anyone with half a brain knows a lot of it is bullshit. But what he's done is, which is one thing some people may agree and some people not agree on. I agree on it because he has sorted out the border issue. They've had 10 million illegal, undocumented migrants flooding into the south of their border along Mexico. A lot of these people are not good people. They're not coming over to work. They're coming over to cause havoc. So straight away, he's shored up his border, which is what one of his things he was voted on. So Pbear stands with that. And looking after your voters and your citizens is what a real leader should do. I know a lot of people are divided on Donald J. Trump, but you can't argue with the man's actions. Then that's gonna be a little taste of the show. We're gonna talk about things. Hopefully we'll have a few guests on soon. I'm still putting the feelers out because when the new podcast starts, a lot of people are, a little apprehensive. Pbear, or it should be called cancelled after one show. But as they said, Rome was not built in a day. It was destroyed in a number of days by a barbarian horde invasion who broke through their beautiful marble walls. But as Russell Crowe said in the 2000 amazing movie Gladiator, my name is Pbear. I am the host of a cancelled podcast, and I will have my episode aired in this one or the next. But just a little taste of the show. That's how it's going to go. Just a little format. We're just going to see what's going on in the world, and we're going to bob and weave our way in through. And hopefully we get some listeners, throw a few topics out, get discussions going, opinions. Another thing going on in the UK across the way are old slave owners, the old tyrannical English who enslaved our little ancient Ireland for, we'll say 700-800 years. Now there's a lot of history there. We can go into that again in another episode. But basically, they've had a hate law speech or an online hate law. Excuse me, I can't speak. Online hate speech law. They've had it for nearly 2 decades now, but it's only starting to be reenacted. And basically, if you break it all down, is if you send a mean tweet to your neighbour around the corner and he gets offended, the bobbies of the police will show up to your door. They may or may not arrest you, depending on how offensive the tweet was. Imagine sending a bad tweet to your friend or a neighbour or something in relation to politics, sports, gender, race. I know we're talking about gender and race now, but these are little minor tweets, little slaggins. But if the person that received the tweet is offended, then he or she can make a complaint to the police, and they will rock up at the person's door and they could arrest them. And people are actually in prison right now, and it is nuts. There's serious issues going on in the world right now that are not being addressed, while stupid things like people being offended. The term offense is only loosely defined as if I say something and you choose to be offended, well then it's offense. Like the other day, my little daughter told me, "Daddy, your boobies look great." Was I offended? Yes. Was I heartbroken? Yes. Did he give me the desire and the hunger to go to the gym? Maybe. Am I going to report her to the Garda Síochána? No, I will not. Not because she's my daughter, because it's words, they don't hurt us. But anyway, listen, that's a little topic on the show. Anyway, we're going to go through things. We're going to look at a few categories of what's, famous out there, what people are loving, like how life, social antics, music, comedy, sports, fitness, the things that people are doing right now to keep them going crazy and not watching all this crap that's going on around the world. Hopefully a few guests on. So a few high rollers in my I was going to say in my file effects, but in my phone book who are, pretty experts in their fields. We have people who have cracked the comedy scene or are now working their way up the comedy scene, and maybe they'll do Pbear solid and come on and talk about that. How to set up a comedy scene, how to write a sketch, how to get involved in the comedy scene in Dublin, and maybe go out there and stand up on stage and deliver your content. It's not easy to do, but there is people out there that will help. People are good. Most people are good natured and they have good intentions, and my goal as the host of the most unnecessary podcast in all of podcast land is to get these people on to talk to me and explain to my niche core loyal listeners, all two or three of yous, yup the lads, how to do these things. We might have someone from the music scene. Let me picture this in your head. You're walking down Temple Bar, down the cobbles. You hear a little rendition of Zombie crooning out of a bar. You stroll in. You take your €1,600 out and you buy your 2 pints of Guinness. And all you hear is, do you have to let it linger? That person probably just likes music, learned how to play guitar, worked his way up the scene, was probably getting about 400 quid for 2 hours of pumping out beautiful covers. We might get a few people on like that. I have a few friends that are getting into it, friends that are in it years. Hopefully they'll come onto the show and have chats with us. It's all about putting the feelers out. These things take time, folks. Everything takes time and it takes work, hard effort. Do I have to make a good podcast, successful podcast? Only time will tell. But I know these people I'm hoping to get on have done these things and they have that work ethic. And if you are or will and willing to take out 5, 10, 15 minutes of your day to listen to this podcast, I'll just say from the bottom of my highly cholesterol, soon to be diabetic 3-type heart, thank you so much. Or as they'd say in Japan, konnichiwa, loosely translated as yup the flats. But anyway, that's just a small snippet of where we're going. And then once we get fully fledged and start getting our stuff together, we'll start pumping out decent episodes with good topics. And hopefully we get a little bit of listener interaction. Then we get a few guests on, get the questions flowing, get the ebb and flow of a conversation, and then we can go from there. But yeah, mad stuff going on in the world at the moment. As I said, just to summarize, an 18-year-old man who stabbed 3 young children to death and tried to kill another 10 has pleaded guilty in Wales, England today. Yeah, Welsh man. What's the name again? If I had someone to help me with the podcast, I could get it on the screen, but I have to do all this manually because I'm only a novice. Alex Raducabana, 18, so he's technically a man now. So hopefully he is treated as a man and not a child when he did it, and he goes into a male prison and he gets the God-given shit beaten out of him daily for the pain that he caused them families. Imagine stepping foot into a little stage school. I know it was Taylor Swift, but listen, and going in there and stabbing defenseless children. What an absolute scumbag, and I hope he gets the punishment he deserves in this life and the next. And again, very strange that we had our own incident in our own country and no trial has been set. No one knows anything because there seems to be a media blackout. But listen, maybe we'll hear an update on that soon and we can talk about it. And again, congratulations to the 46th President of the United States of America, Commander-in-Chief, Presidente Donald Trump. I'm sure it'll be an interesting 4 years, see what happens. Maybe more riots, maybe more division, maybe, who knows, maybe he might do a good job, do good for the country, but we'll see. But again, this show will not be political. We're not part of any political agenda. We're not right wing, left wing. We're stunts in the middle on the fence. We want both sides of society to come on and discuss and have a nice, coordinated, respectful debate. A debate is two people putting 2 points across and getting heated. Anyone knows Pbear? A lot of you know that I'm a very approachable individual. I will take your opinion on board. I will dissect it and I'll give you mine back. Jokes. If I had a little laugh, little button there, you'd all laugh saying, no, he's a fucking opinionated motherfucker, but listen, we're all growing as people and evolving. I'll try to do that as well. But anyway, I'm going to sign off, and I will keep you updated on the next episode. But if you have time there, please follow. If you're looking for information, hit us up on Instagram and Spotify. And if you have any questions about the show or how the show should go, or any suggestions, or maybe Pbear shut up talking so much, or get X and Y on, or do you know anyone that would like to come on and talk about certain topics, please send me a message and I will get back to you, I promise. Might take a day, might take two. I can guarantee it won't take three, but I will get back to you. All callers and all people that message, I'll get back to, because we are a society that needs to have discussions, not arguments. And I want to be that person to make those discussions happen in a respectful manner. Pbear signing off. You've been great. Have a great day, Dublin. Bye.
You've been listening to the Bare Necessities Podcast. And if you're hearing this message, you made it to the end. So give yourself a pat on the back that you were able to bear it. Yeah, I said it. Thank you for listening to this episode from start to finish. If you have any questions about the things we covered on the show, or would like to be a guest, or discuss anything about today's topic, or any other, please find us on Instagram and Spotify. We answer all messages, so don't hesitate to reach out. As they say in Dublin when saying goodbye, Allah Akbar. Hold up.